Welcome to our video lesson on finding the density of different substances and how to calculate it. So in this lesson, we're actually going to be doing a little bit of math. Now, before we start, I just wanted to remind you what density is. This is a picture to help us remember. This is a picture of what a baseball might look like if we opened it up and looked inside, or the density of a baseball. And this is an image of the density of a rubber ball, a normal rubber ball. If you think about it, a baseball is a lot heavier than a normal rubber ball, which would be lighter. But in this case, their volume is the same. And so if you remember from last class, that means that this would be more dense. So our baseball would be more dense than our rubber ball, which would be less dense. And it's more dense because it has more mass in the same volume compared to the rubber ball, which has less mass in the same volume. Now let's look at how we actually calculate the density of a substance. These are 4 steps that you are always going to follow when writing the density. The first thing we always want you to do is write the formula. The second thing is substitute your values into the formula. Then you solve. And then the last thing, please don't forget to write your units. Units. Don't forget them. So let's start by reading our question. Jet fuel is tested to ensure it meets certain standards. One standard is density. If a sample of jet fuel has a mass of 8.30 grams and a volume of 10.3 milliliters, what is its density? Okay, let's start by following our steps. Our first step is to write the formula. Well, we know that density is equal to mass over volume. All right, now I've written my formula. Step 2, substitute your values into your formula. Right, in my question, I was given some different values. So it says mass of 8.30 grams and a volume of 10.3 grams. So let's substitute those in. So my mass is 8.30 grams and my volume is 10.3 milliliters. Now you're going to want to get out your calculator and solve this problem. I'm getting out my calculator. Oh, sorry, we've substituted our values in. We've done step 2. Now we're going to solve. So I'm going to take 8.3 and divide it by 10.3. You're going to get a really big long decimal. Let's round it to the nearest hundredths place. 0.81 is what I get. Now it's 0.81. We've solved it, but we need to write our units. Our units are going to be grams per milliliter. So in this situation, the jet fuel has a density of 0.81 grams per milliliter. We have written our units and we are done. Let's do another example. A chef fills a 50 milliliter container with 43.5 grams of cooking oil. What is the density of the cooking oil? All right, our first step is always to write our formula. So density is equal to mass over volume. Our next step is to substitute. So I have to look at my question. This says 50 milliliters, and this is 43.5 grams. This one isn't as easy because we have to figure out which one is volume and which one is mass. Well, I know grams is a measure of mass, so this must be our mass, and milliliters is a measure of volume, so this must be our volume. So when I rewrite it, it's mass over volume, so I have 43.5 grams over our volume of 50 milliliters. Next step is to solve it. So I'll take 43.5 and divide it by 50. That gives me 0.87 grams per milliliter. So that means the density of the cooking oil is 0.87 grams per milliliter. I didn't forget my units, so we're all good. Let's do one more example. A student measures the mass of an 8 centimeters cube block of brown sugar to be 12.9 grams. What is the density of the brown sugar? All right, same steps. I'm going to write out my formula. Density is equal to mass over volume. Next step, I need to substitute in my values. Okay, let's look at my equation. We have 8 centimeters cubed and 12.9 grams. Which is which? Well, my grams is my mass, and 8 centimeters cubed must be my volume. This little cubed means it's a three-dimensional object. So now I'm going to substitute them into my equation. So my mass is 12.9 grams, and my volume is 8 centimeters cubed. Then I solve it. 12.9 divided by 8 gives me 16.125. And my units would be grams per centimeters cubed. So that means my density of the sugar is 16.125 grams per centimeters cubed. That's all for now. I hope now you know how to calculate the density of an object, and I'll talk to you later.